Good morning. I'm standing in the Palm Beach Synagogue Social Hall, and I hope you could see how beautifully this room is prepared for 10 o'clock, when all the children are going to come to experience the most beautiful Passover extravaganza. If you're hearing my voice and you have children or grandchildren in the Palm Beach area, you don't want to miss this extravaganza. The children are going to get into the spirit of the holiday of Passover. And we know that Passover, more than any other holiday, is all about the children. That's right. The entire commandment to have the Seder is to fulfill the biblical commandment that Moses tells the Jewish people, V'higadeta levincha, you shall relate it to your children. Tell your children every year on the anniversary of our freedom the story of the Exodus from Egypt. And Jewish families have been sitting down to this royal Seder meal for 3,334 years and telling their children the most essential values and messages of Judaism. The message of God's taking us out because God says that every human being deserves to live freely and only have one master, and that is Almighty God. And indeed, at the night of the Seder, the entire Seder revolves around the 4 questions that the children ask. And then we say there are 4 types of children. And we can't just have one general message for all 4 children, but we have to address each child individually. As we say, know your audience. And sometimes you have 4 different audiences in the room. And you have to speak to the heart and to the soul of each individual child. Understand that each child is different, and each child will relate to a different form of communication. This is what education is all about, with the child in mind. And then the Torah goes on to explain to us. There are 4 children. The first one is the wise child. The second one is the wicked child. The third one is the simplistic child. And then the child who cannot even ask a question. And even to that child we must speak. But what does it mean, the wicked child? It doesn't mean that the child is wicked, evil, God forbid. It means the child is confused. The child is depressed. The child is angry. The child is broken. And we have to reach that child, the wicked child, the child who's the depressed child, and give them a feeling of connection, of belonging, of unconditional love. But here's what the Haggadah says. You know, when you have a party, especially a fancy party, you have place cards, seating arrangements. Why? Because you want to make sure your guests have the most wonderful experience. So you want to make sure that you seat them next to people that will make their evening most enjoyable. And so the question is, why is it that the order of the seating is Echad Chacham? First you have the wise child, and right next to him you have the wicked child, or the depressed, broken-spirited child. The child who's confused, the child who maybe says they're an atheist. Why not seat the wise child next to a guest that will enjoy their level of understanding and communication? Why put him next to that child who's the wicked child? And the Lubavitch Rabbi says precisely because if that wicked child shows up at the Seder, we put him next to the wise child because by sitting next to the wise child will be able to speak with them and connect with him and inspire him with his words, with his love. And we will draw that confused, depressed, broken, angry child back into the fold. And that's what the night of Seder is, to never give up on any Jewish child. And not just child, because there's a child in every one of us. To never give up on any Jew. And remember, this is the night that has the magical power to draw back the Jewish people to one another, to God, to thousands of years of Jewish history. And not only do we have to invite everyone to the Seder and speak to everyone, but we have to give them the most exalted seat at the table, next to those that could show them that unconditional love and connection to Judaism. Today happens to be the yahrzeit of a great rabbi. His name was Rabbi Levine. He died in 1969. He was known as the Tzaddik of Jerusalem. He's a great, loving rabbi. And one time he was walking down the street and he saw one of his former students. And he was excited to see him from a distance coming towards him. But then the student crossed the street to avoid the rabbi. And the rabbi was shocked. He ran across the street to greet the student. And he embraced him and he said, "How are you?" And then he said, "Tell me, why did you cross the street when you saw me?" And the student said, "I'll tell you why. I was embarrassed because I'm not religious anymore. And I wasn't wearing my kippah. And I was ashamed." And the rabbi, who was a very short rabbi, said to him, "You know, I'm a very short man. I can't see what's on top of your head. All I can see is what's in your heart. That's what the Haggadah says. Don't look at the exterior of the children. Sometimes you have a child who's angry, who's depressed, and you feel like, I want to give up on that child. And the Haggadah says, God forbid. Every child has to be reached, especially in the night of Seder. Every child has to be loved and spoken to. And most importantly, don't be fooled by their outer exterior of toughness and anger and rebelliousness. That's not their true essence. Break through the facade, see into their heart, and you will find a warm, beautiful Jewish soul. Have a wonderful day, and I hope to see everyone at 10 o'clock. Have a happy, wonderful day.